Is intimacy coaching worth it for men? And of course, I will say yes, because that's where I am at. It's sort of my field. So, of course, I will say yes. And this is actually one of the main reasons I am in this field. It's because it worked for me. So, why would it not work for others, right? And I think the main blockage and barrier that there is for a man to step into a path of intimacy, it's this idea that intimacy is constantly connected to sexuality, and that sexuality is a thing and an idea about being performant, so being this alpha male. And of course, an alpha male cannot go to a beta or to an omega and ask him for guidance, because that would feel like you're not a man. This is exactly the idea that actually stop men from reaching a certain degree of maturity. And maturity is not only on the professional level, it's not only on the mindset level in the sense of, oh, I have a correct mindset, I can achieve everything. It's also on this spots of vulnerability. And intimacy coaching is more going there. It's more about going to vulnerability in the spots where we are more not weak but not completely mature yet. I don't like it to call weak, because just because we haven't worked on it doesn't mean it's weak. So, for example, we have this idea of ejaculation. Oh, how long I have to hold, and that's our weak spot, so we don't talk about it, especially if we struggle to last long enough for our successful relationship to be complete. So we don't go and ask just because this idea is holding us back. But that's where magic happens, when you step into vulnerability. So you're embracing your vulnerability so that you can tap into feelings and emotion and making your connection way deeper when you connect with your partner on an intimate level. And we guys, we don't have all the answer. I'm sorry, we don't have it. I had to learn from girls a lot, like really a lot, because I also had this idea of, oh, I'm a man, I have to know how to make love. I'm supposed to know it. I'm supposed to just go as an animal and just dominate. And that's not the case. Or I'm just this prince and I just want to make love and make sure that she loves and that she's constantly in love with me. And that's not the only way. There are so many different ways on how to approach intimacy on a sexual level, but also on an intimate level of emotions and feelings. So, intimacy coaching is not just about sex, but it is indeed connected to sex, because it is a vulnerable place to be. And the most vulnerable place of a man, which one is it? It is sex. It's their sexuality. It's the aspect where the man always goes and put a mask on and says to his parents like, "Oh yeah, I did this to her, I did that to her," and trying to sell himself as, "I'm an alpha male, I'm a king," when actually you're not. And it's okay to not be, because you haven't had access to the education. I mean, even though they teach us something at school, they don't really teach us how to be in our emotions and our feelings, and how to then translate this into a sexual intimate moment where we are in the most vulnerable place with our partner or with a girl that we just met. So is it worth it? Of course it is. It is completely worth it. And I know it takes a lot of courage to accept this and allow another male to be part of that journey. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm making this video, is so that you can see me in my vulnerable position somehow. I'm open here to judgment, but I'm okay with it. You know, I'm sharing about intimacy and how somehow a little bit how I went, and it's okay. It doesn't matter whatever someone's going to tell me, because in my vulnerability, which I don't understand, see or understand as a weak, I'm okay to be with, because there is where it's beautiful to be. There's where I generate connection. It doesn't make me less man because I'm vulnerable. It doesn't make me less man because I talk about my sexuality openly, or because I talk about my feelings and I share them, and I say like I learned so much about girls thanks to girls, and I learned so much about my own sexuality. Because when we talk about sexuality, it's not just an individual sexuality, it's also something that you share with someone. And that someone in my case were girls. So of course, I wanted to have a deeper connection with them. I wanted to last longer so that I could have a deeper connection with them, because that's also the case. Many times We don't allow ourselves to go and ask for guidance. So we're experiencing sexuality just in a short period of time. But then, yeah, whenever you have a guy like me sharing, like, hey, I've experienced something really beautiful, but for this you require more time to give that space. So instead of being there for 5 minutes, you need at least 30 minutes so that you can tap into this vulnerable, emotions and feelings that are coming up whenever you're in an intimate moment with your relationship, with your partner. Sorry. So, and then you have this other idea, which is, I don't want to be sharing emotions when I'm having sex. I just want to fuck her and blah blah blah. Which is okay if that's how you want to do it. It's fine. But I'm telling you, you're missing out a lot of beautiful things. Life ends at some point. We all are going away at some point, and we all age as well. So our interest changes. And when you're gonna really do it, when are you gonna really allow yourself to go into what gives you pleasure and what you really enjoy, which is enjoying life. And sexuality is part of life, you like it or not. And for some reason, for some taboo, we're not allowing ourselves to go and enjoy that. So there's a lot of oppression and hiding and no, and we're not showing it, and then we're faking and putting a lot of masks. Yeah, we have a wonderful sexual life, but actually you have no idea what you're talking about because you haven't experienced it, because maybe you don't have enough time, or just maybe because you're like this and you're completely blinded because you don't allow yourself to go and see different perspective from different men. In this case, because it's an intimacy coaching about men. So yeah, I could be talking about this for minutes and minutes and minutes, but is it worth it? Of course it is worth it. And it's a path where you will step into vulnerability. So you will work on your masculine aspect. We talk a lot about dark masculine, light masculine, dark feminine, light feminine, even though we're really focused on the masculine aspect, because in the majority of male bodies, we have more masculine energy or more masculine traits. So that's where we focus a little bit more, because it's also in this stage of life is where it's more needed. But we also work on the feminine side, which is going to help us into vulnerability. So yeah, we go through this journey where we would tap into different energy, and we learn techniques to be more performant, for the idea to give more space to tap in those energy and to allow these different types of embodiment, where we can allow spiritual sex, if you want to call it one way, or tantric sex, to come in, to then later on going to different stages of moving energy in our own body, where we experience different type of orgasm as a male. It's not just one orgasm of ejaculation. Actually, we're stepping away from ejaculation, not denying ejaculation. This is not the way how at least I approach it. But we're not denying ejaculation, but we are stepping away from it to experience different ways. There's so much more there than just going there, doing some movements, and then ejaculate. We can tap into body orgasm, we can tap into prostatic orgasm without having to ejaculate. We can, yeah, exchange energy with our partner, which is crazily good. Even if it's just a small kiss, we can exchange energy in I take, you, or I give, and it gives a total different experience. Plus the idea that, imagine if you're at your peak, well, that you can extend that peak for 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours. It's up to you at some point. It's not anymore that you have to fear that, oh, at some point this is ending. It's not ending. It's your choice. You choose if you want to end it on one way or the other. And that's up to you. So yeah, if you have any question, you can of course comment, or you can just send me a message, give me feedback if you want as well. It's all welcome. And I will be really pleased to answer on them. So just feel welcomed, because you are.